hope you're doing well. NFP Friday, so TGIF. It has been a good week. Yesterday wasn't so good because with the Euro Oz long signal, and it did just chop a lot. We had a lot of uncertainty with risk, and we're actually flipped to risk off on our risk calculation. However, I want to talk about the indices because there is some movement that's going on right now, and the logical thing would be the herd would short as we go into NFP. And so that's something that we need to bear in mind, is that, you know, this is using a weekly average, but what's going to happen in the next couple of hours, it's going to, obviously, there's going to be a slight difference there because obviously the couple of hours is dynamic. This is a weekly average. So this is a very strong metric. So for every one person short, there's two people buying risk. And now what will normally happen is that the herd are counter trend and they lose money. So if they're buying on average, if they're long on risk, price should fall. Okay, now that's the theory behind the risk calculation. However, today, as we go into NFP, it would make sense they would short. All right, so this number, this 24-hour difference, it might change by Monday. Okay, so there's a lot of things to take into account. Yields all rose, so that's risk off. We had some Taiwan and Russia stuff going on, and we've got NFP. So that's the yield spiking, and that's saying flight to safety. Inversion on the curve, so that's risk off. I don't know how this is going to get fixed. Perhaps if these things get resolved, maybe it'll get fixed over time, but this is actually quite heavily inverted. So that's risk off. Lots of shifting on the indices. France 40, German 30, UK 100, US oil also moved. S&P moved quite a bit, but not as much as UK 100, and US 30 also moved quite a bit as well. They really went long on UK 100. So that's a massive shift from last Friday. It's quite bearish on that particular index. So this is the dollar, but we can see the Euro USD is trying to escape the claws and the clutches of the dollar. And so we're seeing a little bit of positivity coming up from the Euro. And we've got ECB next week, so we have to bear that in mind. And they're talking about a 75 basis point hike, and that's going to help bolster the Euro. So be careful today and next week. So we're probably going to want to be careful with this as we go into Thursday. Pound is lagging and dollar yen is leading. So there's the yen weakness and the pound weakness. We can see that on the bubble chart. Now, there won't be a trade of the day today. The risk calc will shape violently and impact our idea, and we'll get NFP. So let me just scroll all up to the top again, and it's this, right? This is the reason why we're not going to have a trade of the day, is because whenever we go risk off on our risk calc, we see enormous fluctuations and volatility, and they really want to get these guys out the equation, and so we're going to see a lot of fake stuff. We're going to see a lot of heavy price action, shooting up and then falling, and it's just going to really impact our trade of the day. So for that reason, we're not going to have a trade of the day today, and I think perhaps on CPI day we want to probably avoid that as well. When we've got the US CPI, but we probably won't have a trade of the day. And so just be wary, because our risk calc always indicates a very heavy session whenever we go risk off, because they have to get the dumb money out the equation, and they'll do whatever they can to get them out. The trade of the day will resume normally on Monday. Okay, so we'll just resume service Monday. Lots of red on the SSI snapshots, and you can see the euro yen is green, the euro pound is green, Aussie yen is green. Lots of yen weakness on the sentiment. And S&P, so we made a buy there. It's a risky buy because at the high level they're net long. However, you know, this could be a sell if they go long. If they short it, it will be a buy. So I'm going to do a 2-minute video after this bulletin, and then we can see what's happened. It makes sense that they would sell it, because you wouldn't really want to be buying into NFP, would you? You'd want to be shorting it. So that's them selling the US 30. What they'll do now, we don't know until I make that video, and that will go into the private Discord. This is making a buy, but it's a risky buy because at a high level it's a sell. So that if they short it over time, then we'll come up. Right, so be careful with DAX. Fundamentally, it's pretty horrible as well. Gold, you have to squint your eyes to see it, but we're actually having a crossover. We're seeing a little divergence there of the SSI and the moving average. I don't know if you can see it, it's like 1 pixel or 2. And if they short it, then that's going to be a buy indication, but it'd be a risky buy because at the high level, it's a sell. It's 75% long. If they reduce longs, it's going to be a buy dynamically. So it's the dynamic analysis that we're interested in. It's what they do over the time. It's the dumb money flow. It's really important. Lots of mismatch. Okay, there's lots of mismatch all across the board, apart from dollar yen and Euro Oz and Euro USD. Everything else is mismatched. So that tells us to be careful. Largest mover was Euro Oz, 7% towards sell. Largest stop loss cluster is AU below, it's 67.50. It might get probed. See, the price is 67.87, so we're quite close to 37 pips to get in the stop loss cluster. So fairly possible, especially today. And we might come down to red stops, and then we're going to rally. So you've got to be very careful. Pound's misbehaving, Oz is misbehaving, and CAD is as well. Kiwi is behaving normally in so much that the retail guys have gone one particular way and then they've got punished. So so they've gone long Kiwi and price has fallen. So that would be correct. So that's got a good score. That's how that logic works. We'd want this to be a little bit higher, personally. And we put out a trade of the day. The Euro Aussie long was very choppy, and we would encounter a lot of drawdown. I think it was like a 90 pip drawdown. So we need to have a good old think about the entry and exit of these trade of the days, or potentially we could just avoid publishing them Thursday, Friday, maybe, and it would have resulted in a negative result. We'll incorporate the success failure into the profit and loss next week. We'll determine the entry based on the signal. We'll have to have a good think about this, whether or not we should have a trade of the day on Thursday, Friday. We'll have to see what happens next Thursday, but we've got ECB next Thursday, so you have to wait and see. And we'll incorporate the success and failure into this this chart here. It's not a chart, it's a table. And so it's a bit tricky, isn't it? And also we're having API issues on the signal sheet. I'm going to fix that after this bulletin, after I've done the 2-minute video on the indices. Once that's done, we're going to have a new delivery method of getting data into that particular sheet. And then at least that'll be hopefully more reliable, because the API froze last night. So if we were going to rely on the signals to come through, the API has to work. If it's going to freeze at 10 p.m, it's no good, right? So we need to investigate this. So I'm going to be looking at a new delivery method, which is going to be a web scraper way of getting data. So we'll get that fixed, then we can at least have a think about this, what we're going to do next week. Technicals, so we're quite extreme, as you can see. So that's that. Nothing's changed there. I'll note that the Quasidb code has reverted to 10% discount. It was a 70% discount, but obviously we're in September now, and so we've lost some of that power. But the Quasidb code can still be used at the FX SSI website, somewhere up there. So you can use the Quasidb code, and obviously all eyes on the non-farm payroll. So busy calendar, keep calm, always trade safely. I can't state that enough, especially today. If you can, just sit on your hands and monitor. I'm going to be quite busy because I'm going to make a video on the indices, and I'm going to be working on our signals sheet. If you need access to this, there's a link in Discord. If you want permanent access, send me an email, direct message, because eventually I will be locking that down, obviously, because we need to keep it private. And that's that. So that's it. So have a good weekend and have a great day. And I'll be back on Monday for the COT data. And don't forget to join the Discord if you want to. Everyone's welcome. And there's some links there as well. So have a great day and trade safely. It's going to be very volatile today.